mental health and well-being, looking after yourself, body, soul, and spirit. It's great to be back again. So I'm going to ask people to join us. We'll take the time now, just before 7, for people to quickly link in with us and start to mark the attendance register, as it were. So let me know if you're here. Say hello, wave, say something. Let me know that you're with us today. Today, we're going to be discussing a topic that impacts literally on the entire human race. And it really is by grace and sometimes by sheer luck, like somebody said to me today, that some people are not victims of our topic today, which is domestic violence. And it's heartbreaking that during this lockdown, a number of people have become even victims. Those who weren't before have become victims, and a number of people who were victims previously are even finding themselves daily on the line. They find themselves in the line of fire, and there's hardly anything they can do about it. So it's become a struggle for a number of people. And so we're going to have this conversation today to see what the situation is with people and how people can address the challenge of domestic violence. So wherever you are, please let me know that you're with us today before we kick off in a minute or so. Just send a message, say hello. Let me see that you're here. If you can hear me, let me know that you can hear me. Wherever you are in the world, say hello. Be ready to ask questions. Some people might want to share their experiences or might even want to ask questions. I've got 2 guests with me today who are experts in this area. We're going to start off this particular topic with speaking with the experts. And then we're going to continue, not today, we're going to continue later on with speaking with those who have had the experience and who are willing to share the experiences with us, just so that we can all learn. The idea is to share with me, and then in people sharing with me, you're also learning as you're listening. So please indicate your presence. I see that a number of people have joined us now on the show. Say hello. I want to know that you're here. If you can hear me, let me know that you can hear me. I'm still waiting for, hello from Estonia. Marina, hello from Estonia. Thank you for joining us from Estonia. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. It's great to have you with us on Sharing with Yemi today. Sandra Idemudia, I see that you've joined us. Thank you so much. It's great to have you on the show. Let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Can you hear me loud and clear? Or do I need to adjust the volume or adjust anything? Do let me know. I'm counting on your feedback for technicals to be right and to be perfect today. So let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Marina? Can you hear me, Sandra? Let me know if you can both hear me. And we'll kick off with our topic today, and we'll have my guest talking with us today. It's great to know that even in the midst of challenges, there are people who are always available and ready to support and ready to help. Reports show that hundreds and thousands of women suffer from domestic violence on a daily basis. Now, some would argue that men are also victims of domestic violence, and that will be true as well. But when you look at the aggregate and the average, reports and experiences show that most cases, women are the victim of domestic violence. And so I'm going to welcome everyone formally to Sharing with Yemi today. And I would love to welcome my first guest on the show, who herself is an expert and has worked with a number of victims of domestic violence over the years, is an outreach officer. Allow her to introduce herself to us formally. Please welcome my very first guest on the show today, Bernie Kieran. Bernie, it's great to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Yemi. Thank you.
Welcome to Sharing with Yemi.
Thank you very much.
So, Bernie, would you tell my audience about you? First of all, tell us what you do for work.
I am an outreach support worker with Meath Women's Refuge and Support Services. So predominantly my work is with women out in the community who are experiencing abuse, where the refuge setting, women and children can be accommodated there on an emergency basis. My work is out in the community, providing the same supports to women, but outside of the refuge setting. So I would provide court accompaniment, court paperwork. We provide one-to-one supports, either at base or in the community, although at the moment it's a bit of a challenge with the restrictions we have in travel. We also run group programs, and we support women. We provide advocacy support for women around accessing other services, whether it be housing, social welfare, schools, they may relocate, whatever. We're out there to support women and go with them through the process in whatever way we can help.
Very good. Thank you, Bernie, and it's great to have you on the show today.
I'm going
to introduce my second guest, who is joining us from Africa, and she is also an expert in the area of supporting women who have challenges with domestic violence. Please welcome onto the show, Josephine Efa Chukuma. You're very welcome on the show, Josephine Efa Chukuma.
Very much, Yemi. My pleasure.
It's great to have you on Sharing with Yemi. So, Josephine, will you first tell people what you do for work? What you do? What's your work?
All right. I run an NGO known as Project Alert on Violence Against Women, which is an organization I founded 20 years ago. And basically, we promote and protect the rights of women and young girls, especially the right to a life free of violence. We do a lot of research and documentation and advocacy work. But more importantly for us is our practical support services. We opened the first shelter for abused women in Nigeria, known as Sophia's Place. And so we take in women who are threatened in relationships and environment and all of that. And we work on all issues bordering on violence against women, not just domestic violence, but also sexual abuse. And of course, in this part of the world, harmful traditional practices as it affects women in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Josephine. I'm going to have Bernie back with us now, and we're going to have conversations. Can I encourage our audience to start to send in your comments or your questions? Today, we're discussing domestic violence, dealing with domestic violence. And if you know people who have been victims or who are currently going through domestic violence, I would encourage you to try and connect them with the show today so that they can benefit from some of the information. I'm sure a number of them would perhaps have heard so many things, but this is going to be firsthand. They can listen to the experts and benefit from the things that they can do, especially at this challenging time. I'll come back to you, Josephine. You said you started Project Alert 20 years ago. So there must then have been a dire need for a center that allows for women to feel free enough to come and talk about the challenges that they're encountering in their homes. Would that have been the experience when you started Project Alert?
But when Project Alert started, Project Alert actually came about as a result of an identified need, a gap. There was a gap. Because when you talk of 20 years ago, just recollect that at that time, the social media was not on. You didn't have all the Facebook and the WhatsApp and all of that. So communication was very analog, as it were. The awareness on the issue of violence against women in this part of the world. I mean, in Europe and America, of course. I mean, there's been quite a lot of talk about the women. I mean, the women's movement, domestic violence, that. But when you talk of 20 years ago in Nigeria, there was a lot of silence around the issue of violence against women, especially domestic violence. A lot of secrecy, a lot of silence. No one hush hush about it. You can't go report to your husband. No, you can't go talking about it. It's a private matter and all of that. There were no researches. I remember when I was doing my master's, I studied in the Hague in the Netherlands, and I was looking. My thesis was on deconstructing the family, domestic violence and exploitation in Nigeria. And I I almost surrendered because I was looking for information, I was looking for statistics, I was looking for data. Nothing, you know, little or nothing was in existence, you know, and all of that. So, with that in mind, when I was able to survive that experience and come back to Nigeria, I said to myself, no, I'm not going to be part of the problem. I'm going to be part of the solution, you know.
Very
So
good.
that's where the whole idea came. And then, of course, the World Conference on Women, Beijing in China, when it came out very clearly that violence against women was one of the 12 critical areas of concern. That was when I said to myself, Josephine, you need to run with this. You know, so at the time we started, there was basically nothing, Yemi. There was nothing. There were no enabling laws. There were no shelters. There were
Mm.
no. Now we are having offenders registered. There was nothing like that. Now we have sexual assault referral centers. Nothing like that. Researches were not being done. So that was why Project Alert, at the time we started, we did a lot of heavy lifting. You know,
Mm.
we basically did everything. We did research and documentation, we did advocacy, and then we did support services. But now, increasingly, you're seeing that research and documentation is more than big enough for one organization to just pick up and focus on. Just being able to just focus on research on this issue and, you know, churn out reports on that is one big work. An
Mm.
organization could try to focus on advocacy, you know, it could be legislative advocacy, it could be policy advocacy, or whatever. Big work to do. And then an organization could just decide to say, okay, we are just going to do shelter alone, or we are just going to do legal aid or something like that. So, but we had to combine the three.
Wow.
And that,
Wow.
it was,
I can
but
only imagine. So you've got a lot of experience over the past 20 years, not just working directly with the women, but also documenting all of those experiences.
that one thing that is dearest to our heart is documentation. Documenting the experiences of women, documenting the work we are doing, documenting practically everything. Because without in fact, documentation, research and documentation informs all the intervention services we had to
Mm.
we
So you are indeed a champion of that course in Nigeria. Well done, well done. So I'm going to come to Bernie now. Bernie, in the Republic of Ireland, what what in your opinion will be the major reason why a number of people become victims of domestic violence from your experience?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's like an Irish problem or that you can pinpoint why people become victims of abuse. I think it's a global problem. I think an
Mm.
abusive person will be an abuser no matter who he's with. So it's not if I am a victim of abuse, there was nothing I could have done with that person to avoid being a victim except get away from him. He will always be an abusive person. So I would just have the misfortune of meeting up with this person.
Mm.
That would be my only misfortune. So I'm afraid culture, and listening to Josephine there was very interesting because there's such parallels here in the abuse, regardless of what culture, social background, where you're from. Abuse is abuse, regardless. It
Mm.
doesn't matter, rich, poor, whatever you are. An abuser will always abuse, regardless of his background or his cultural upbringing. Um, so it's just, there's no pinpoint. Why does somebody become abuser? There can be a myriad of reasons. Like, you just cannot pinpoint anything. A lot of it is about power and control. That's basically what it boils down to.
Mm.
Having the power over another person, that, like, the abusive person starts to think that his spouse, his partner, is his property to do with as he will. And I think that's where it gets out of hand. It's not a case even of maybe having grown up in an abusive home and then you'd go on to be an abuser. That's not always the case at all. You might be more aware coming out of an abusive home of what you don't want to be going forward yourself into your adult life. So
Mm.
there's very little a victim can do in the situation to change it, unfortunately. The abusive person will always be an abuser. He may mask it for a while. He may put down a shield and present himself as this different person, but inside he will always be that abusive person. So unfortunately, unless the victim, for want of a better word, or the survivor, makes the decision to get away from him or to put sanctions in place whereby he's stopped in his tracks, through the legal process, if necessary, he will continue to abuse. If there's no reason to stop, he will continue to abuse. If there's no sanction put in place to make that man
Yeah.
stop, he will continue to do so.
Bernie, you work with the Meath Women's
I
Refuge,
do.
and this refuge has been around for a number of years.
It is. It's around since 1987.
1987. So,
1987, yes. And I am working there since 1992. I think initially I started out
wow.
in the actual refuge. And I think we came to realise then as time went on that women didn't actually want to leave their homes. They didn't always want to have to uproot their children and leave home and come into refuge. There will always be a need for refuge. Unfortunately, there are people who have to leave. But we recognised also that many women wanted support, but they wanted to stay in their home. They wanted to stay out in their community with their family, with whoever the support systems they had in place. So we recognised at that point that we needed an outreach support service to bring the supports out to women, to support them outside, either get court orders in place, just to provide more information, provide them with the tools, I think, really, Yemi, to make more informed choices for themselves.
But is now, from your experience, having worked in the refuge for those number of years, do you think that the number of cases are increasing or decreasing?
I see in outreach now in the section I'm in, year on year, it's almost increasing. Like we're supporting up on around 400 plus women per year in the community.
Wow.
And you see, we can do that too. Refuge has a capacity, so there are only a certain amount of women and children you can accommodate. Where in the outreach department, we can work with more women because you don't have to provide them with accommodation. Occasionally, we do have to refer women into the refuge, but generally, we can support them through the outreach department, get them the supports they need to move on, and by doing it that way, we can work with more women. So unfortunately, and I would love to say that I would be out of work because there's no more domestic abuse, but unfortunately, I don't see any sign of the numbers dwindling or things improving to a huge extent. There's possibly more information out there for women. More women are possibly more aware. But still, there are huge challenges when it comes to taking steps against abuse. There are huge challenges for women. You can be shunned by your community. Maybe if you expose your man as being an abusive person, it's not. It's still a taboo topic in a lot of areas. So not only are you getting yourself away from the abusive person, but you may lose all your supports that you've had in your community. A lot of family members, so it's not an easy choice for women, but we're there to support them through the choices and try to go with them through the challenging times. And that's as much, I think, if we can provide the information and then women make the choices themselves. We're not judgmental, Yemi, so we provide the information, then it's the woman's choice. Like it's the woman's own choice whether they take the steps. And when they're ready, hopefully they will. They mightn't do it now, but they could come back.
Yes, the woman has to make the choice whether she wants to take the service. Josephine, I'm going to come to you on that note. Do you find, from your experience of working with women who come to your refuge, do you find that they're able to make that choice quickly enough before more damage is done? The women that come to you, Josephine.
Actually, I mean, the women come in at various levels of preparedness. I mean, and you can't really push them very hard. One thing, and as an activist and as a responder, is as much as possible is being there for the victim, the survivors, without necessarily deciding for them what they want to. Give them the options on what to do. So some do come in ready, I mean, very clear in their minds what they want to do. Okay, I want an end to this. I want a divorce. Some come in, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what I want at this point. I just need space and time away. So it all depends on them. And what we do as much as possible is to be there for them in whatever their decision is, because it has to be their decision, so they take full responsibility for it.
So do you find situations where you get a bit frustrated that you're advising some of the women to make certain or help them in making certain decisions and they don't make those decisions?
Severally, a lot of frustrations. I mean, it goes with the territory. It's all part of it, you know. I mean, it's sometimes it's so clear to you, you know, that look, this is where this person is heading to, but she's not gotten to that level yet, and you can't push her. You know, you can't push her. I mean, because if you make the mistake of deciding and telling her, come on, you have to leave now, you have to leave now, if you don't leave now, you're going to die. And then she, because you said that, because you put that fear in her, she leaves. If tomorrow, for any reason, she steps out and things are so tough outside, she will turn around and look at you and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, you used to beat me, but at least after beating me, you'll get me a brand new car, or you would
Wow.
give me something to eat, you know, and all of that. So it's frustrating, really. It gets frustrating sometimes, but I guess we just have to do what we have to do.
So have you had to make really difficult decisions in terms of literally getting women out of a scene, a domestic violence situation? Have you had to make those kind of decisions for them?
We've had to do that severally. Severally. The one that comes to my mind, yeah, I mean, it's a very, I can't forget that particular case, the case of three little girls, you know, and their father was married to a Filipino woman, and he was not only abusing the woman physically, he was having indecent relationship with his daughter, his own daughter, you know, and this girl ran. The eldest daughter ran, and when she ran, she was able to get someone referred her to us, and we stepped in, and we had to go to Ikorodu. It happened in Ikorodu. You know, we had to go all the way there to report to the police, and then
This is in
to us,
Nigeria.
she said to us in Lagos, and she said to us that the father said that if she runs, that he was going to move down to the younger sister.
No
You know,
way.
and that mom and the sisters were locked up in the house. And I'm like, this was 2009. I said, in 2009, in 2010, you're locking somebody up. So we had to actually use the police to go and break open the door. We had to use the police to actually go and break open the door and get them out. The man was not there, but it turned out that even the police had seen him a couple of times. He moves around with them like a brood. I mean, he's like a brood, you know. Himself, the wife, and always going around with them, not wanting to leave them alone. Maybe for fear that and the day we rescued them was one of those days. I guess he he, he just had to go do something, and so he locked them in. But people who
Wow.
know them says, you know, moving around with them or locking them in, but they've never seen them. They've never seen the woman walk alone or the children walk
Wow.
alone. So I mean, that was a frightening one for me, anyway.
So if you're just joining us, you're watching Sharing with Yemi, and today we're discussing dealing with domestic violence. I've got two experts with me on the show today. I've got Josephine Efa Chukuma, who is the founder of Project Cllr in Nigeria, and I've also got Bernie Kieran, who is an outreach officer with Meath Women's Refuge, and they're both sharing knowledge and expertise on some of the work they've done with women. And now we're going to address what women should actually look out for. Bernie, I'm coming to you now.
Okay.
When you go to court with a number of women, do you
Mm.
find that some of the women they go back into the situation again, not knowing what signs to look out for?
Mm. Unfortunately, we do, yes, because abuse moves in a cycle, Yemi. So you have the episode of abuse, then you have like the honeymoon period where he may come in with all the charm and try and woo you back. So the woman then is seeing the man that she always wanted to be with. He's then this he's the ideal partner. So he woos the woman back in by promises and promises to change, promises to do this or that or gifts, whatever. But gradually it comes back round again, unfortunately, Yemi. So yes, oftentimes the women don't notice, and abuse can happen so gradually. Like it's not always like the physical episode of abuse. It can be the tension rising phase. You know that element of, you know, something's wrong, you know something's going to happen, but you can't quite pinpoint what's wrong.
You feel it in your gut.
Yes, but you don't know what's happening or why it's happening. So invariably it will come back round. Generally, and like women do, because like women have always got hope inside them. They hope that this man is going to change. They've invested their future in this man. They've possibly a family with them. They've set up home together. They've invested so much in this relationship and with this man that they really wanted to succeed. And
Wow.
like they love this man, they love the family, and if the man is constantly telling the woman, well, this is your fault. If you were a better this, if you were a better that, if you didn't do this or that, then I wouldn't have to be like this to you. So he will put it back on the woman wrongly, but the woman will take this on board herself.
So
She
he
will,
makes it feel like it's her fault.
oh, of course, yes, 100%. That if she was a better wife, mother, a better cook, he wouldn't have to be like this, that it is her fault. So then she starts looking at herself and taking this blame on herself. So she tries to change herself, to mould herself into what he is asking her to be. But even then, that's still not going to be enough, because he is an abuser and will always be an abuser. If he moves on to another person, and sadly I'm around long enough, Yemi, now to see the second or third partner belonging to this man who are availing of the services through us, and we're seeing it's the same man but a different partner. So it doesn't matter what the woman does or how much she tries to mould herself to be the perfect partner that she thinks he's looking for, because he will never find that perfect partner, because he's a controlling person. So there's no equality in any relationship that he wants with any woman.
Wow.
So you see women come back, and they might go back a few times before they actually make the choice. Look, there's no change in this man. I have to get away. The only way to keep myself and my children safe is to get away from this man. And sadly, some women just don't ever get to the point where they can do that. So, you know, and we've had fatalities down the years. Like, women have died. I mean, ultimately, that's the bottom line. But sadly, it's that element of hope and wanting to keep the family unit together that holds a woman there, and a little glimpse every now and again of this man that she always thought he was.
That he was, yes.
Yeah, when things were good, of course, not when things are bad. So, and that's enough to hold the woman. So look, if a woman comes back 3 or 4 times before she makes the ultimate break, so be it. We're still there. We're still going with her on the journey to help her through the process. And as Josephine says, it can be frustrating sometimes, especially if you know that this woman, and she might have taken steps and really come on a lot, and then he moves back in, you know, with the promises, with the, you know, the hope of a better future, and it's, you know, I know it's not going to last. I know it's not going to last. That he, unless there's some sanctions in place, this man is still going to abuse this woman. So unfortunately, there's nothing she can do to change it.
I'm going to take this on from the one of the points you made earlier on about the woman trying to mold herself into the image of what the man expects her to be. So he sees her as that perfect woman, so that he's no longer abusing her, you know? And most times that's what you find, that women just are hoping that perhaps if I change my looks, if I lose a bit of weight, if I am able to speak better, if I dress better or cook better, or mind the kids a bit better, perhaps he'll see me a bit differently. Josephine, has that ever worked for abusers?
Uh, um, hmm. Well, for a lot of women, they think it would work, but from my experience, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not about. I mean, you. A lot of women would think, okay, when I do that, it's going to be better, but it doesn't get better. It doesn't really get better, because it's about you. It's about the person. It's about him. It's about whatever
It's
his
not about
issues are.
you, it's about the person.
You know, it's about him. And survivors most times get so hard on themselves, and oh, okay, it's something I must have done, it's something I must have said. Just like you said, if I'd done this better, it could have been this. And then they just keep going on, and without actually practically seeking help and talking to someone about this, it's not going to get better. And I'm just sitting here, Yemi, and I'm just imagining with this COVID-19 going on now, and everyone locked in. The little respite that used to be there by way of, okay, at least in the morning or in the afternoon, okay, he goes or I go. Because looking at these issues, of course, like you rightly said at the beginning, yeah, I mean, we can also rule out some men having issues. So in
Absolutely.
the everybody wakes up and goes their own way, but now you are all like stuck in the house, and then it's not everyone again that has got a very spacious house where you say, okay, oh, everyone go into your little corner and and close your door and be comfortable there. There are quite some people, a lot of people who are living in one room, two rooms,
Hmm.
with family of six, waking up, sleeping there, eating there, and then for women, especially women, those women who are into, I mean, talking about shutting down the economy, locking down, women will be most affected because a lot of women are into petty trading. They are into daily income that at least as they are going back home, they are buying food to take home and all of that, and then here they are not able to do that. And God help them if they have a husband also who wasn't even doing anything in the first instance, and then this happens. So with
Hmm.
this lockdown, that a lot of countries all over the world, it's going on. Honestly, already, I mean, we've just been closed we've just shut down, we just shut the office. It's a week today. And within last week and today, we've had like five, 6 reports.
Wow.
We've had,
Now let me ask yourself and Bernie there now. Do you have men come up to you? Because you made a point there, Josephine, that men can be victims as well. And one of our audiences just also literally said what you said there. Pat McDermott says, great conversation, great discussion, and perhaps I'm a little off point, but you're not, Pat, actually. But I feel in the present era, men are also victims of domestic abuse. Amen is a valid illustration of this sad and true fact. So Amen will be the male version of Project Alert and Meet Women Refuge. I hope some male victims of domestic abuse are also tuning in to this excellent advice here today. So that part mentioning that, and it is true that men can be victims. Do you have men who come up to you, not knowing where else to go, and say, look, I'm a victim of domestic violence? And if they do come, how do you handle them? I'll start with you, Bernie.
Well, we would often get a phone call, maybe from a man or from a family member of his, explaining his situation, and that he is a victim of abuse. And we would point them in the direction of, I think it's called Any Man now. I'm
Yeah.
not 100% sure. Amen have changed their name.
Mm.
So we would actually pass on the details of that service to them, because it's
Mm.
like, it's not a competition of
Yeah.
abuse. It's not like, so abuse is wrong regardless of who the abuser is. It's
Male or
wrong.
female, it is wrong.
So, like, we will pass the number on. I mean, we will explain. We would often see men in court who would look for court paperwork. Now, we don't work with men. Like, our funding is for supporting women and children who are victims of abuse. But we'll point them in the direction to go. It's not like they're the enemy. We are there. We're still helping people who are abused
Mm.
in their homes. So, like, where we can't work with them on a one-to-one basis, we'll tell them where to go and get the supports. So, yes, of course, we would find that, yes.
And Josephine, would it be the same for yourselves? In your
so
refuge
I
in
think,
Nigeria, would you have men come up to you to ask for support and say to you that they're victims of domestic violence?
not really with Project Alert, because our mission is quite clear. I mean, and by our name, I mean, our focus is on violence against women and girls. So men would not ordinarily come to us, though they are, I mean, we partner with some other groups that are trying to do that. But what we see is that sometimes when the women come to report cases, and by the time we start counseling and all of that, we could actually find out that, I mean, it's just like what I tell people most of the time, that it's not, sometimes it's not really the first person that runs to the police station that is the innocent person. You know, sometimes,
True.
you understand? I mean, we've had few occasions where the women are always the one who come to us to report. But along the line, when we get talking, you know, you could now see some other things going on, you know, okay, maybe, I mean, there were actually some things, I mean, there was a way she behaved. In fact, maybe she was even the one to first lash at the man or something like that. So when that comes up, we try to counsel them, you know, and talk to them. In fact, there's a case I can't forget. And when we got talking along the line, the woman turned around and looked at us and said, "But I came to report him here. Why is it? Why does they're now taking his side?" I said, "No, we're not really taking his side, but we are being objective here. We are looking at, you came to us for this, fine. And in the course of counseling you, you know, talking to you, this is what has come out. And then when we called him and talked to him, this is what, and by the time both of you are sitting down, we're talking to, I mean, I tell people that truth is like pregnancy. With time, it will show, you know, and all of that. And so, I mean, it happened, but normally, no, men don't come to report to us. In fact, what men do when they come to us is to refer their sisters. They come to report that their sisters have been beaten,
Interesting.
their daughters, you know, the whole issue of male involvement. You know, when you're talking about gender-based violence and you want to get men's attention, you don't talk about girlfriends and wives. You talk about daughters, and when you talk to them about that, you know, you get their undivided attention about that, you know. So increasingly, yes, we've had men come in, but not coming to seek help for themselves, but more for their sisters, their daughters, and then even young men coming in to seek help for their moms.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to take a comment here from one of our viewers from Curacao, and they say so much fear in the house for these women these days. The fear is always present anyway. So fear obviously is an element that keeps a lot of people stuck in a relationship, for fear of, well, where else do I go? Or fear of who else will have me with the number of kids that I have, or fear of what will the society say, fear of, oh my goodness, I've broken the culture or the tradition by leaving my relationship. So there's a lot tied around fear that keeps women in relationships that they don't want to be in. Bernie, how
Yes.
do women overcome their fear? How should they overcome their fear?
I suppose they just have to get to a point themselves. I think making the decision to do something is possibly the hardest part, but also informing yourself. Like I've worked with women from one woman in particular for many years, and she gathered all her information. She sought the legal information. She met with a solicitor. She got information from us. She got information from social welfare. Like she really did her research before she actually took any steps to get away out of the home. So she put a lot of work in before she actually left. I mean, that's not always possible for women. Some women just have to up sticks and leave home at any point, just as and arrive at refuge in the clothes that they're just wearing themselves and their children. But I think the more informed and the more information we can put out there, that women know that there is a place they can go, that there are supports there for them if they want to link in and break away from an abusive relationship. Housing is going to be a humongous issue, like at the minute with the housing crisis, like leaving aside the whole isolation at the minute due to the coronavirus. Housing is a challenge for women to move on. It's improving a little bit, you know. It is slightly improving, but as Josephine said, at the minute, the isolation that women are suffering at the moment and being stuck with an abusive person 24/7, it's hard for any of us who are used to going out and going about our daily business and having a schedule of some people coming home from school, some people coming home from work, or going in and out generally of your home. But if you're stuck now, which people are, 24/7 in a house with an abusive person, then your options and your opportunities to seek help are limited. And I think that's where maybe we as organisations have to look at ways where people can get us, where we can get back to women, support women in whatever way we can. But yeah, it's always going to be a challenge. And until the woman decides herself, yes, I'm ready to go now, I'm ready to take that step to leave this person. But definitely it's never an easy decision that any woman gets to. It's always hard. It's a hard decision.
Yes.
It's always
Bernie,
hard. Always.
you guys, your refuge has remained open through this pandemic. You're
It
open
has.
still for women to
Yes.
come through if
Yes.
being challenged.
Yes.
Tell me why you felt the need to remain open.
Well, as I just mentioned there a few minutes ago, I think now it's difficult in an abusive relationship at home at the best of times. But now, when you add in the absolute isolation that we all are imposed to due to the coronavirus, we recognise that now women are going to need us more than ever. So we're trying to look at strategies we can put in place and how we can keep safe as workers, how we can keep the women safe and children who are with us. But I think it's important that we are still there, because I think, and we're actually seeing a start of it now, where women are getting an opportunity to link in with us and say, look, I need help, I need to do this. But it's harder, Yemi, because if somebody's in the house with you 24/7, you're not going to pick up your phone and be able to make a phone call.
Yeah.
So to be able to access support is going to be a humongous challenge for women. And I suppose for us, even we're cut back a bit insofar as, like, we're not physically out in the courts. We're still out there now doing the court paperwork, where times we would have been able to maybe go and pick a woman up from her home if it was safe to go, or if we were accompanied by guards, we could go to a home and bring a woman back to the refuge.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that now because of the isolation that we have to, because we're no good to anybody if we are having to leave work and come home and self-isolate. So as long as we can provide the phone support, we've kept the refuge open, and we're reviewing it on a daily basis, Yemi, because if somebody gets sick inside, then that's going to be a challenge. But then, even then,
big change, yeah.
yes, we're working still with supports and services in our area, like Meath County Council, various supports in the area. How can we still support women and help them? Because we are going to see a huge peak in women access and are hoping to access our service.
So for
And
women in the Meath area where you operate, can you give a contact that people can reach you on? Anyone who's experiencing domestic violence, and if there's a way they can reach you, can you give us a contact where they can reach you on, whether it's email or phone number?
Yeah, I'll give you both actually, Yemi. Our phone number is 046 90 22393.
Would you repeat that again?
046 90 22393.
Very good. So if there are women around the Meath area who are experiencing any challenges at home at the moment, that's the number to call: 046 90 22393.
And I'll give you, Yemi, our email address. It's
Go ahead.
support@dvservicesmeath.ie. So it's support@dvservicesmeath.ie.
I have to really commend you for taking the bold decision to keep the refuge open at a time like this. You're obviously frontliners, as it were, and you're giving women who might be struggling with managing things at home, you're giving them hope, and you're giving them a place to come to. If peradventure they have to make that call, they have to make that decision, you've given them that hope. I'm going to come to you, Josephine, and I'm going to come back to you with one of the things that Bernie had mentioned earlier, and I will frame that into a question for you. So, women who are at home right now, stuck with an abuser, not knowing what to do, where to run, that help is not available, well, as far as they're concerned, and they're too afraid to ask for help. How do they keep themselves out of the line of fire? How can they ensure that they're not victims while they're stuck at home? I know it's not the easiest of things, but perhaps from experience, there's certain things they might be able to do that will reduce or minimize the abuse from the abuser.
Um, this period, it's actually a very challenging one for families and women, especially if already it was an abusive. What it will actually worsen if that family. I mean, if there was already violence in that family before this lockdown, that's when it's
Mm.
going to worsen the time. So for us at Project Alert, we are. I mean, the shelter is we've closed office for the period, but um, women can get across to us via our email, our Facebook, our Twitter handle, and we
What's
try
your
to talk
email
like
address?
Project Alert at projectalertnig.org.
Project Alert at projectalertnig.org.
And then our Facebook is Project Alert on Violence Against Women, and our Twitter handle at Project Alert VAW. So we closed office Tuesday last week, like I said, but between then and today, we've had like 6 cases. People, some sent email to us, some did us a DM on our
Mm.
Twitter handle or on our Facebook, and then we respond, we cancel them. For some of the women, what they actually want is some guidance on how to keep safe, how to, keep themselves away from, I mean, from, situations that could, cause problems during this time.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
safety. Like we told one woman today. She said, um, it's when she is trying to do something, in the kitchen or something, he would come in and whatever. I said, okay, can you make it in such a way that maybe when he's lying down in the room, not any, then you go into the kitchen and do what you want to do, just little
Mm.
things, just to make sure that nothing happens that you could get abused. Because especially in Nigeria now, I mean, in the UK it may be relatively better. In Lagos right now, it's a lockdown, total lockdown. And on a normal good day, even when there's no lockdown, you go to the police, there's a problem. On a normal good day, with the police giving their attitude about, come on, domestic violence is a private matter and all of those, I mean, stuff they give women. So
Yeah.
at this time, in the face of coronavirus and all of this, there's, I mean, I'll be surprised if they attend to her.
Wow.
So for us, we are not quick to tell the woman go to the police now. What we are quick to tell her is, I mean, to advise her is how can she keep safe. And if she really feels that that place is so unsafe that her life could actually go, for us, the next thing is, do you have friends and family? Do you have any very good friend? Do you have a close friend? Do you have a family member? In most cases, you let them see, I mean, some of them would say, yeah, I have a friend. Okay, can you go there? Okay. But really, really, if they have nowhere to go, and it's really that bad, because you have to look at, I mean, um, there's no similar case. All the cases are different. So you look
Mm.
at, you weigh the risk. What is our risk? Depending, I mean, from what you are hearing from her, you know that, wow, this woman's risk level is 8/10 or nine
Mm.
over ten. She needs to get out of that place. Then okay, we will then. I mean, the shelter is not closed down, but of course we're running. We are performing at how will I call it? We are not physically open, but if we
Yeah.
do have
But
that
you're still attending to people.
into people. And honestly, if we have that kind of high risk case in the Lagos area, we would definitely take the person in.
Thank you, Josephine. If you're just joining us, you're watching Sharing with Yemi, and today we're discussing dealing with domestic violence. And this is the first of two parts of that topic. Today we're speaking with our experts who are working in these areas, and they're working with women refuge that look after and support women who are victims of domestic violence. And some of the points that have been made today include the fact that women need to be able to ask for help. You need to inform yourself, keep yourself informed all the time, so that if you do need to take that help, you know where to go, you know the help that is available to you. And look, it's not about you. It's not on you when these things happen. It's not about you. It's about the abuser, that person who is abusing you. And the fact that men too can be abused, men are abused. But in most cases, it's the women that fall victim. And if a man does fall abused as well, he also should get help. Um, Look, stigma, it's no longer an excuse not to get the support that you need. And most of these points have been made today. If you want to ask a question, I would say put your questions through now, because we're going to be wrapping up very soon and we'll be able to ask our experts in the house the question. There's a question that is coming there, and I'm going to ask you that straight away, Bernie. And this is advice for young girls. Our young girls that are not yet married are perhaps on the brink of getting married and are going out with someone now, or even for women who are single and are hoping to get married. What signs should they look out for? What should they keep in mind when getting married so that they don't fall into the hands of an abuser?
Well, I think if you're in a relationship with somebody for a while, Yemi, you will start to see if that person tries to change you, if that person suddenly starts, maybe being a little bit critical or trying to isolate you from family or friends, to have you totally under his. It might seem romantic and everything that he just wants to spend all this time with you, but if you see somebody who's actually starting to take you away from your friends, not wanting you to spend time with your friends or not wanting you to spend time with your family, then that's a huge major issue that you need to be looking at. Like, what's that all about? Like, I mean, if you want to marry somebody, you want to spend your life with somebody, it's because of who they are, not of who you want to make them into. So I think for anybody in any relationship, I think if that person is trying to change you in any way, then that's time to say, hey, look, what's happening here. I think if you have firm boundaries in place, Yemi, that you're confident in yourself as a person, that you will not be abused. Nobody will, because you will stop it in its tracks. And like if you stop it, the abuser just is not going to get anywhere with you. So I think if you allowed something to slide, and generally, and I said it earlier, abuse happens gradually. So I think when you start to see the little red flags going off and you think, no, I don't like this. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't seem right to me. If you name it there, if you nip it in the bud, and maybe the relationship will have to end. But if you start seeing little things, that you're putting together, you think, no, I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't like the way he treats me like this, or he's critical of the clothes I wear, or, my friends that I hang around with, then really it's time for you to start thinking, well, hey, is this the person for me if he totally wants to change me and change my life?
Hmm.
So,
Josephine, would you want to add one or two things there as well as to what single women or young girls, what they can do, the things they should look out for, the signs they should look out for to ensure that they don't fall into the hands of an abuser?
Yeah, we always say ignore them and say, oh, I'm in love, and all of them. People say love is blind. And I said, no, I tell young girls, you love with your heart, to think with your brains, the signs are always there. They include,
Love with your
that
heart, think with your brains.
with your brains, when you are in a relationship with someone who has a controlling attitude, who wants to control you, who wants to distance you away from your friends, always saying things like, come on, you are too close to these people, you should be, with obsessive love, we so obsessed, we so controlling, wanting to stop you from doing things he met you doing them. Yeah, when you get into a relationship, you do, it's a sacrifice of give and take, but it has to be um, 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 a willing one, not a forced one, not a full one. So once you are in a relationship with a man, and also young men with girls, and the person is so controlling, so manipulative, so wanting to that kind of overwhelming kind of behavior, then something to 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 watch out for. And again, I mean, it gives you a slap, and you say, "Oh, it's because he loves me. That's why he's trying to correct me."
What do you name that kind of slap? Love slap.
Maybe. And then you tell yourself, and then he tells you, "See what you made me do to you. I don't like doing this, but you made me do it. I'm sorry." And all of that. And then you smile, you look away. Those are all the signs. I mean, violence just doesn't come overnight. It just doesn't come overnight.
Wow. So just as we wrap up here, I would love both of you to share with us and with our audience, people who are watching, anyone who is currently worried about being in a situation that they're not sure what their outcome is going to be. A number of people are perhaps already struggling with being cooped up in the house with a man or a woman, for all you know, it could be a woman as well, who perhaps is already an abuser or could be an abuser. So, on a final note, just from both of you, what should people keep themselves busy with as individuals, as women or men who could be abused? What should they keep themselves busy with?
At this time, is it especially at this time of this lockdown?
Especially at this time, yes.
My advice to everyone is try as much as possible, especially for women and also for men, but especially for women, try as much as possible to keep yourself out of harm's way. Anything and anything that could trigger, especially when I mean, like in Lagos now, you can't move around, you can't drive out. So, except if you have a neighbor or a friend that could bail you out I mean, in that situation, just stay out of harm's way. I mean, if sleeping is going to solve the problem, please sleep.
You just keep sleeping all through the lockdown.
To just keep you out of harm's way, because it can be, honestly, if any woman is abused physically at this time, such a woman could actually die.
And
Such a
that is
woman
so scary.
could actually die, because I mean, dealing with the virus is one thing, dealing with the emotional and the physical abuse is another. And then the hospitals are not the safest of places to go these days. At this time, they are not the safest of places. So as much as possible, just keep yourself out of harm's way. Whatever. I told one woman today that, look, if you have to adopt the name Mumu, you know the meaning of Mumu?
No, Karen, Brandon doesn't know, so you tell us.
No.
Just act the foolish woman. Just act foolish, at this time, just so that you're safe. You have, I mean, you have a plan. We'll talk you through a
Just act
safety plan.
dumb, like
Okay.
you don't know what you're supposed to do, but you know what you're doing.
So you know what you're doing. You know that, okay, I'm keeping dumb for this 1 month or 2 months because this is the situation I've found myself, and I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get killed. Before I'm able to execute my plans. So okay, so you're a foolish woman. Okay, sir. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not the best, but that's going to get you. Keep you, tide you through.
So
Then
basically, use wisdom at this time. Bernie, any last word?
I think we're lucky enough that we can still go out for a short walk now at this time. You have your 2 kilometre exercise that you can take every day. And I think if women need to access supports, that may be their opportunity to do it. If they can get out of the home for that short little bit of time, even if it's to give us a phone call, to give even the Gardaí, we're lucky enough here that our police are more approachable and they are helpful. That if you need to get out of your home, to actually Get yourself out on the pretense that you're maybe going for your short walk. Get yourself out. Give us a ring. Give the guards a ring. If you need to get away, say that you need help, that you need contact with a women's refuge. There's a Women's Aid have a free phone number if you don't have phone credit. The guards can direct you to the different phone numbers if you don't have one on you. But I think really staying in the house with an abusive person is going to be a challenge. It's a challenge at the best of times, and now it could be like an extremely a fatal challenge if it comes to it. So I think accessing the supports, Yemi, is critical, because you cannot really, we can work through safety planning and risk assessment and all of this, but when you're stuck with an abusive person in the home, it's very hard to enact all of this, because you're never going to preempt what he's going to do next. You're never going to be ready. You do your best to keep the children quiet, to do everything that you think is right, but still it's not going to be enough to keep you safe in the home. And to access the support services, there is help out there. Give us a call, give the guards a ring if you need to get away. There is help, and there is help, so give us the call.
Thank you so much. I really want to thank both of you for being my guest on the show today. Bernie Kieran from the Meath Women's Refuge, thank you so much for sharing from your wealth of experience and for your
Thank
words
you,
of
Yemi.
advice for potential victims or even victims out there. Josephine Efa, thank you so, so much. We really appreciate your time and for all the great work that you're doing in Nigeria, supporting and protecting women. Thank you so, so much. We really appreciate both of you. Thank you for being my guest on the show today. I really want to thank everyone who's been a part of the show today as well. Like I said earlier on, this is the first part of two parts. Tomorrow, we're going to continue this conversation. Today, I had the experts with us, sharing with us from their wealth of experience. And I hope that for those who've been seeking as answers to some of the questions, that you've had your questions answered today. Here is the thing. The signs are always there. We probably never noticed them because we were in denial or because we were so desperate to be like some of our friends or family who are already married and who are tied in a relationship. But we're in a relationship now, so perhaps it's time we started to reassess that relationship. Culture and religion will not save a person who is struggling and who is being abused. You have to remember that you are the victim if you are a victim. And you have to face the reality that it is something that is happening on a regular basis, if it is happening on a regular basis, and then seek the help that you need. Pray and seek help. Don't just pray, but pray and seek help. And when help comes, recognize it and please take it. Nothing is worth your life. I really pray for all the women and all the men as well who perhaps are struggling at this time in this isolation. Please keep yourselves out of harm's way. So we'll see you again tomorrow on Sharing with Yemi. Thank you for your time. A big thank you to all of our audience, all those who have made comments and asked questions. Thank you so, so much. And I want to say a big thank you to my team as well, as always, for being fantastic, ensuring that we've had a great show today. See you tomorrow. God bless you. Have a good evening. Stay out of harm's way. Cheers.